Hey folks, how you doing? It's me again, Rick. Listen, I wanted to tell you a story. This is to celebrate the 40th anniversary of a field trip in grammar school that went kind of bad. Anyway, it was about 2 weeks before graduation, like I said, about 40 years ago, exactly 40 years ago, in Jersey City, PS number 20. I was all excited. We were going on a field trip. We saved up our money from selling candy all during the course of the year, and we were going to Sterling Forest or Bear Mountain, whichever one, I can't remember. Anyway, my friends and I decided that we're going to bring some booze. So, one guy said he's going to bring some wine from home. The other guy said he's going to bring some beer. I had a buddy who lived up the street from me. His father was a cop. Basement full of hard liquor. I wanted some blackberry brandy. So for $2, he sells me a bottle of Fleischmann's because he tells me it's the same as blackberry brandy. Wrong. This is grown-up man whiskey. This is strong stuff. So I got a pint of it. Bring it to school. Actually, before I went to school, I poured it in a 7-Up bottle, except for this much 7-Up that I poured out. I mixed it up, brought it to school. None of my friends brought anything. Nobody can get a drop of alcohol. I was the only one. So we get on the bus. We go to the back of the seats. And all the girls were sitting in the back row. And I got to tell you, for 8th grade, 13-year-old girls, there were a few hotties in my class. Me, I was the shyest kid in school. Hard to believe, right? I was. Button-down white shirts, tie, clip-on tie. I didn't know how to tie them then. And, real nerdy. Respected by most of the teachers, most of my classmates. But I had no game. I was goofy, nerdy, kind of how I am now. Anyway, went to the back of the bus with my friends. As soon as the bus started rolling, I cracked the bottle open. I tried to offer some to everybody. Nobody would even take a sip. So I said, fuck yous all, I'll drink it myself. We're on Danforth Avenue in Jersey City. The turnpike is right at the Bayonne city line, like maybe a 10-minute ride. I downed the whole pint of Fleischmann's with this much 7-Up. Within 5 minutes, I'm polluted. I am in bad shape. Well, I turned into Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I decided that I'm Casanova and I'm going to have my way with the girls and they're not going to say a thing about it. Well, I go in the back. I have my hands down the girls' blouses, up their skirts. They're screaming. They're carrying on. They run to the front of the bus to tell Miss Pfeiffer, my teacher. And I see Miss Pfeiffer coming, so I sit back in my seat, and I see the empty bottle, and I gotta get rid of the evidence. So I try to slide the window open, but it only opened up this much, and the bottle was this fat, and I can't get it through. Well, she pulls the bottle out of my hand, takes one whiff, she looks at me, she says, "Richard, are you drunk?" That's what they called me, Richard, not Rick. I looked up at her, and I go, "Yeah, I'm a little drunk, and I'm also horny. Why don't you play with my pecker, Miss Pfeiffer?" That didn't go over too well. Well, she went back to the front of the bus, told the other teachers. All the students were crammed up in the front because at this point, it was like a volcano erupting out of my mouth. Puked everywhere, all over myself, all over the seats, the floors, you name it. Kids are screaming. It stunk. It was disgusting. I wish I was dead. Well, I pass out, unconscious. Lucky I didn't die of alcohol poisoning. When did I wake up? How did I wake up? When we got to the final destination, all I remember was the bus driver smacking me across the face, and all I can hear is the sound of a woman's voice calling me every filthy name you can imagine. "You motherfucker, you son of a bitch," and I'm coming to. And who do I see but Mrs. Vanish, the English teacher. I never heard words like this coming out of her mouth. I think the last time I heard that was probably from one of my uncles. Even my parents didn't talk like this. And the bus driver is cracking me left to right, and it's sobering me up. And she's yelling at me, "How could you do this? Boom, boom, you son of a bitch. What is wrong with you? Look what you did. You're not going to graduate." Well, they got two of the biggest kids. And believe it or not, in 8th grade, I had two kids. One kid, his name was Eddie. I remember EJ, white Polish kid. And the other guy, this big black dude, I think his name was Tank or Gerard. They were like 17 years old in 8th grade. They were shaving. Anyway, they both picked me up and they carried me off the bus. They walked me back and forth on the side of the bus. She made me drink a big thermos of black coffee. finally sobered up. Next thing you know, it's time to go home. All the kids get back on the bus. The teacher makes me sit right in front of her on the front seat. And on the way home, all the kids are disgusted. They're cursing. Not cursing, the kids weren't cursing. The teachers were cursing. The kids were really pissed at me. Anyway, on the way home, Miss Pfeiffer's telling me that when we get back to school, Eyewitness News is there, my mother's there, the principal, the nurse, I'm in trouble, and all I'm worried about is my father finding out. Because if my old man with his Sicilian temper finds out, I'm a dead kid. I begged the teachers, please don't tell my mother and father. They said, well, your mother's definitely there. Now I'm worried that she called my father. Anyway, the whole ride home, I'm saying, oh my God, I'm gonna be on the news, this is terrible. Well, we get to the school, it's about 4 o'clock, there's no news there. They were just shitting me. Walk in, there's my mother, she's crying in the nurse's office. My cousin's wife is sitting with us, she's laughing under her breath, and I'm shaking and full of puke. I look at the principal, he's looking at me, and the nurse is inspecting me, and I go up to the principal and I tug on his coat and I said, Mr. Silva, am I gonna graduate? And I was crying and he looked down at me and he was laughing and, well, we'll see about that, son, we'll see. Meanwhile, he's laughing hysterically. This is the funniest thing he ever seen. Well, one thing led to another. After all was said and done, I promised I would never do this, blah, blah, blah. They send me home. My mother never told my father. Thank God. Thank God. I would have been dead. Everything was kind of brushed under the rug for the time being. I begged my mother, please, I'll be good, this, that, and the other thing. Okay, fine, went out to play. I was able to graduate. 2 weeks later at graduation, we're on stage, I'm standing in the back. When they call my name, I step out into my road and walk down, and all the kids in my ear, you drunk, you're a bum, you wino, you bompy. Bompy, I love that word bompy, never heard it. But they were all calling me a bompy, a drunk, this, that, and the other thing. I got abused, I deserved it. But the funniest thing was in my autograph book, all the teachers would sign it at the end of the year, and Miss Pfeiffer just wrote, Richard, may you never have another June trip in parentheses again. Anyway, I graduated and all was well, stayed out of trouble for the most part. My father found out probably about 30 years later. Thank God he laughed then, because knowing him, he would have sucker punched me, but he was good about it. Anyway, folks, that's my 40-year anniversary story of the field trip that went bad. Hope you enjoyed it. Talk to you later. Bye.